Hello, everyone, and welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. And today we're going to be talking about chapter 1018 of One Piece, Jinbe versus Who's Who. This is a chapter I've been waiting for quite some time. I'm super excited that we got kind of a fight-centric chapter where we've got to focus on the fight between two people. I'm kind of curious if Oda is going to be doing this with the rest of them. I don't think so. I don't think I don't think it's possible for him to dedicate a chapter to each of these fights. But we'll see what happens. You never know what Oda is going to do, but you do know that whatever he does do, it usually does end up pretty satisfying. So anyway, if this is your first time here, or you're a returning guest and haven't done so already, I would greatly appreciate a like. I would greatly appreciate a subscribe. Bang that bell. Do me a solid. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world to me. So yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys. 1018, Jinbe versus Who's Who. Now, I'll be super honest with you guys. I'll keep it a buck. I am dead tired. This week I started, some of you might know from my earlier videos, I'm a third degree black belt and I teach Taekwondo, and I'm running a Taekwondo summer camp recently. So drastically, my hours have changed. I didn't have the time to review this chapter like I normally do, study up, review chapters and whatnot. I just kind of, read it real quick at work, jotted some ideas down. And so we'll get into it. I'll keep this review relatively short because I want to get this up and out, because I usually record at 12 and it's like 6 right now. So yeah, I apologize. I'm going to try to find a better way to time manage. But anyway, brilliant chapter. Very excited about everything that happened. So let's just get into how we start. We start off with, the allies have changed sides, right? Well, not the allies. The Beast Pirates have changed sides. They're working with the Straw Hats now. And something I found super interesting that I didn't even think about was the fact that people that haven't taken Otama's dango, people that are unaffected, are actually switching sides too, because you have to realize, out of all the people that ate the dongos, 300 of them were headliners, so they're pretty high-ranking gifters, right? And so with that, all these people that have no clue what's going on, except for the 300 headliners and a bunch of the other gifters, for whatever reason, have somehow, and I don't know how many headliners there were, but for whatever reason, are somehow on the side of these Straw Hats. And they're just like, you know what? F it. First of all, I'm not trying to fuck with these guys. I'm not trying to go against them. Maybe they know something we don't, and so they joined on. So I thought that was a really cool addition, something that I should have thought about, but I didn't. And Oda's really good about doing stuff like that. There's so many times in this series where I'm like, that makes so much sense, and it wasn't even like it was hidden. It was never discussed, but like, no, that makes genuine sense that things would go along that route. So I really like that. As we saw, they immediately knew that Otama was the cause and attacked her. And I'm wondering if we're gonna have what was her name? Candy or whatever. The girl from Dressrosa that turned everyone to toys. I'm wondering if we're gonna have a similar situation like that, where if she gets knocked out or knocked unconscious, if her fruit turns off. Personally, I don't know. From everything we've seen, I don't think so. There's been moments where she's been knocked out and people under her control are still under her control. Like when she fainted in the face of Queen, like Horcella, Comachillo, and a bunch of other people that she's held on to. During the course of this entire arc, there's been numerous times where she's been like kind of unconscious or hurt or something of that nature, and anyone who's ate a dango has been relatively fine. So I'm very curious about that. Something else I'm curious about is the fact that I would love if by the end of this, some way, somehow, her dango fruit isn't used. If you haven't already, there's a video I released months ago, basically called Otama the Tyrant, where I talk about the ethics and morals of her dango fruit and using it, and whether the ends justifies the means. Basically, what she's doing is actually really messed up, and it's a violation of human rights, pretty much. I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. I'm keeping it real. Like, it's a violation of human rights to take over someone's mind control, despite them being bad or evil or whatever. She's taken over their will. And so I think it would be crucial, and I think it would be very important and vital if in this arc there's a moment where, for whatever reason, she releases her hold on them via her dongos, and they still choose to fight for the straw hats. I'm very, very curious if that'll happen. I would love for that to happen. It may not, and if it doesn't, it's not going to be something that like breaks things for me. But I just think it would add so much to the story. But especially in a story that's about your will, and how Luffy is always about enabling people to do not the right thing, but what they want to do. Okay, so that's really important to me. Um, Bro, this was equal parts hilarious and equal parts like I was super sad and like that's actually fucked up. Porcella shows up and tells him, "Hey, hop on, I'll get you out of here." And Usopp, and this is the part that confuses me. Usopp gets left behind, right? And I'm like, how did he get left behind? Because he had Otama. He literally in the panel before was holding Otama. So what happened? He gets Otama up there. I'm gonna assume he probably helped Nami up there, and then they just left his ass. That was petty, bro. I laughed at first. I'm not gonna front. I laughed, and then I was like, you know what? That's actually not funny. That's not funny. Really, guys, you're gonna make Usopp run? First of all, Usopp's been running this entire time. On top of running this entire time, he took a headbutt from Ulti, not even like 2 chapters ago. And like now you're gonna have him run. What do you guys have against Usopp? Y'all need to chill. He's got Usopp, and you better put some respect on his name because that is jacked up. All right, that was messed up. So anyway, we find out that the numbers are pretty much 16,000 Beast Pirates to 9,000 Resistance, which are great, great motherfucking odds. Now I know a lot of you are like, that's 2 to 1, but in response to that, I have to say it was like 4 to 1 before. It was 4 to 1. So 2 to 1 odds with the Straw Hat Pirates. Yeah, I'll take those odds. This is way, way, way better for them. And you also have to realize this is at this moment. We have no clue, but I wouldn't be surprised if the odds dwindled even more over the course of this fight. So really awesome. Really happy to see things are really going the right route. All right. Um, on top of that, I really like the scene with Zeus. He's like, "Hey, Nami, can I be your servant?" And I think this was a really good character moment for Nami because, we kind of forget, like, because, Nami can be a bitch at time. She can be a mean person, but we do forget that at her core, she is like a genuine person. She's not a monster. And I do think that like someone like her who was pretty much enslaved to the fisherman pirates under Arlong, and like, has dealt with, slavery of herself, slavery of her town, and then all the slavery she's seen as she's traveled the world with Luffy. I don't think she would be comfortable taking in someone as her servant. I feel like during the course of the story, she has joked about like making people her servant or whatever, but I don't think it's something that she would actually like really legitimately do. And so I just like that. Nah, we're partners. I really like and respect that. And I just really think that it's gonna be so much more to Zeus that he's a partner to her as opposed to being subservient to her. Because under Big Mom, he was a lesser than. He was just a homie. He wasn't anything particularly important to her. He was nothing more than a tool. And so for Nami to, say he's a partner, she's, giving him some autonomy. she's giving him some respect, and I think that's going to go a long way. And I think that there's going to be a moment where Zeus does confront Big Mom again, and I don't think he's going to punk out, especially after the fact that he punked out on her before, and Nami has forgiven him. I think he's gonna assert himself and be like, "Nah, Big Mom, like I'm Nami's now. I'm her partner. She sees me as an equal, and I even if it means I'm going to die, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out like a baller because Nami Schwan. Anyway, we finally find out the actual reason the CP0 are here. For the longest time, we didn't really have any clue. We were kind of wondering, were they here for this fire festival? Did they have a meeting with Kaido? Were they here to talk to Orochi? Yada yada yada. And so, for the longest time, I personally thought it was more along the lines of they purchased weapons from Wano. Wano is a big producer of weapons and whatnot. So I thought it was going to be that route. We know that CP0 kind of works, in the shadows. They do things without, the Marines knowing, like under the guy, working for the Gorosei directly, I believe, right? So I thought, okay, maybe they're here for, weapons and, intelligence and information, stuff like that. No, they're here to confirm that the former CP9 member, or was he a CP0 member? All we know is he was a Cypherpole agent. Who's Who is here, and I'm going to assume Who's Who is not his real name. It's an alias he's going by to kind of duck the world government. But the true reason they're here is to confirm he is here. I'm assuming maybe they came to kill him, which makes me want to kind of speculate that that he's relatively not Who's Who, that the CP0 agents that are here are relatively strong. Also, I kind of have to go back and check. I'll probably do that at some point. Where exactly Rob Lucci and Kaku are right now, because we know they joined CP0, but they're not here. Along with Stussy or Stussy, however you want to pronounce it, she's not here either. So very curious what they're doing at this time, and also I'm very curious about the strengths of the current CP0 members here. Also want to know if for whatever reason Who's Who doesn't die, if they're going to step in or do something, if they're going to report this, if they're going to send for help. I just cannot in my right mind think that they're just going to sit here and let everything that happened kind of play out, even though they are kind of taking this like neutral isolationist, like we're not involved in this kind of stance. All right, now to get to the meat of the episode, we have Jinbe versus Who's Who, a fight we have all been excited and waiting for. And so we see immediately Who's Who bombarding the homie Jinbe with his little his bite bullets, right? And these are no joke. These are no joke. We see a little panel of a bite of Jinbe blocking it with his armament hockey. It barely touches him. It only scaves him, but you see a big gash in his arm. So you know that they're pretty deadly. In fact, there's a scene later on where he's like, "You're smart for dodging it. Like armament hockey can't stand up to that." So I thought that was really interesting. So I thought that with armament hockey, it all depended on your will, and depending on how strong your will is, that's how strong your armament hockey is. And I thought that there might be something special with Jinbe's armament hockey, just because he's a shark. And in any video game I've ever played, shark skin is very tough. If you think about Pokemon, if you hit a Pokemon that has the shark skin passive, you take a minimal amount of damage if you hit them with a physical attack. So I personally thought that was really interesting, and I wonder if that's going to come up in the future, if we're going to hear about that, if that Jinbe has exceptional durability as a result of both his exceptional armament hockey as well as being a whale shark fisherman. All right. And so something also with his bite bullets I found to be hilarious, but also fucked up, was the fact that they are going through the floor that they're currently fighting on and just barraging everyone underneath them. So he is on his own, once again taking out allies, which is a common theme in the last several chapters of just like with Queen and like the gifters and whatnot, just them taking out friend and foe alike. And I just think They have no clue how much they are shooting themselves in the proverbial foot by doing this, and I it's cracking me up. But anyway, who's who is fighting. He's showing a bunch of Rokushiki moves, showing why he's a member of the Topi Rappo, why he's a former Cypherpole member, why he was comparable to Rob Lucci, which I'm really curious about why that was brought up. I really do think that that's going to have some kind of significance. It's either going to be a red herring where we kind of hype him up and he falls short, or it's going to be kind of the opposite where, okay, yeah, this dude really is the shit. And like I said before, right now the only difference I can really see is one, it just really seems like Who's Who has way more of a variation of his Rukushiki attacks and his Shigan attacks than Rob Lucci did. And also once again the fact that Rob Lucci had, a leopard fruit. Nothing special. Leopards are great and all, but it was a standard zone fruit. Meanwhile, Who's is an ancient zone, and we kind of have an idea that ancient zones are stronger, are better, differ in some way or form. It's talking about differing. I kind of wonder if the whole enhanced regeneration thing is something that's unique to all ancient zones, or if it's the dinosaur, aka reptile zones. Because if you know anything about biology, you know that reptiles do have, a kind of enhanced regenerative property. If you watch like Spider-Man, you know about like Dr. Connors, and that's how like he was working on growing his arm, and that's why he turned into a lizard. And like like if certain reptiles, if they cut off their tail, they grow back. So I'm actually very curious about that. Sorry. Let's move on to the next thing I had on my list. So he bombards Jinbe with a bunch of Shigan finger bullets, and we see just Jinbe kind of just embracing it, tanking it like the G he is. But then eventually one of the fingers breaks. So I was like, yeah, my man Jinbe really has some really powerful armament hockey going for him. And like I said before, I'm really curious once again if there's any correlation with his shark skin, him being a fishman and whatnot. Anyway, one reoccurring theme throughout this entire chapter and like the previous chapter is Who's Who seems to be a whiny little bitch. He complains about everyone, has beef with everyone. So first he bitches about irrelevant shit, right? Like the whole time Jinbe is like, yo, let's fight. Let's square up. Like Jinbe's just like, yo, I'm here. Like, I don't care about none of this. I don't care what you have to say. Like, my captain, my squad have to do a thing. You're in my way. Let's throw the fisticuffs. Let's swing. Let's throw blows and get over it. But Who's Who is not really interested in that. He's like, yo, I have to air out some grievances. I don't usually get to fight powerful people. I don't usually get to do this. I don't usually get to air things out. So I'm going to use this opportunity. And Jinbe could care less. But yeah, like I said, first he complains about a bunch of irrelevant shit during this chapter. First he's talking about, Jinbe just kind of, humors him and asks him like, so you're mad at like Straw Hat? You have beef with my captain? And I think he's more asking that not because he cares, but more like, okay, well, just kind of more so to bolster himself. Like, okay, yeah, you have beef with my captain. Yeah, then I definitely want to take you out more so now. But he's like, no, I actually have beef with Shanks, blah, blah, blah. And so like, yeah, remember earlier when I said this? By the way, also, I don't understand why the hell is he mad at Luffy? Luffy isn't the one that stole it from him. If I'm correct, it was Shanks's crew. So yeah, this chapter he pretty much confirms that no, he's actually mad at Shanks, but Luffy not only having the devil fruit that Shanks stole, but also having Shanks' straw hat, and I completely didn't even think about that either. Kind of is the reason that he kind of takes it a little bit more personally. So yeah, I found that to be extremely funny. Then after just annoying Jinbe with all that, he's kind of low-key racist and calls him a slimy fish man. I'm actually very curious in the actual release, the official release, what the insult was, but he says I'm surprised a slimy fishman like you can move so well on land. So when I read that originally, I was like, yo, that's petty, but I didn't really think racism. But then for Jimmy to be like, you know what, I'll be real with you, I don't even know how to respond to that. Like discrimination and racism is kind of like not a thing anymore. Now, obviously, I'm being hyperbolic. I know it's a thing, but he's kind of like it's on its way out. So like saying racist shit like that is kind of like, wow, you're ignorant. So like I just love the entire way Jinbe handles this whole situation because you guys have to remember, along with Robin, Jinbe is the most mature member of the crew, and he's not some kid. He's a grown ass man. I think he's like in his 40s maybe, because Frankie's like what 28 or 30. I thought Jinbe might be in his 30s, but yeah, I think Jinbe is either in his 30s or early 40s. And so you have to realize this is a grown ass man. This is a grown ass man who's lived a grown ass life. And at this point in time, he's more of kind of like the mentor to the Straw Hats, kind of like, I want to like, bestow upon you I want to help you guys with my experience, my fighting strength and all of that. So, he's not going to be as happy-go-lucky about the stuff that he says. He's going to take things a little bit more serious. He's going to analyze things because, he is an adult. He's a mature male. And so he's not having fun with any of this. He's like, hey man, if we're going to fight, let's fight. So this whole like bitching about Shanks and Luffy is just kind of irrelevant to him. And then to go on to the racism aspect, he's like, man, you didn't have to like, hype me up. You didn't have to like inspire me to like hate you, but like you're doing that now. And then to wrap it up, he puts even more disrespect on it because he brings up the sun god, and I don't know the pronunciation if it's Nika or Nika, but for the sake of comedy purposes, we're gonna go with Nika because that sounds punny as hell, and I kind of like the fact that I can say Nika a lot and get away with it, my Nika. So anyway, but yeah, he insults the sun god. He says that while he was imprisoned, he heard a bunch of lore and tale about it, and that he didn't initially think anything of it. But when the guard that originally talked to him about it, or he heard about it from, disappeared, he knows how the world government works. He used to be Cyberpol, so he knows that they get rid of any information they don't want regurgitated or spouted. So now he's like, okay, now that I'm hearing about this, maybe there's something to it. And he started to worship and serve that god. And so Jinbe's like, Jinbe once again is like, cool story, bro. But like, why do I care? And once again, he's like, well, you're a fishman and y'all are like a race of slaves. This dude just does not realize, is super ignorant, just like is completely oblivious to the fact of how racist and assholish he sounds, or just doesn't care. But that's essentially what he says. Well, you're a fishman. Your people are enslaved a lot. You're used to slaves. So like, I figured it has something to do with you. You're a sun pirate. And you know what? I'm going to be real here. I'm going to be 100% honest. He has a point. Jinbe was, the captain of the Sun Pirates, taken over for Fisher Tiger. The fishermen are probably the most disrespected, poorly treated race in all of One Piece. So who does have a point. But it's one of those things where it's like, should you just because you can, should you say it? Should you say it? But anyway, that freaking enrages Jinbe. And Jinbe just claps him. He does just honestly, the entire fight, Jinbe is handling nonchalantly, minus the bite bullets. He's pretty good at taking it. He tanked the finger bullets. He was fine with that. He blocks his saber-tooth fangs. Flip shoulder throws him. So like Jinbe's been like handling this whole time, but like now he actually wants to hurt him because he's like been pushing his buttons the entirety of this fight, and Jinbe just cracks him with his most powerful named move, and it was fucking beautiful. Now, a lot of people, I was reading the comments, for some reason think Who's Who is defeated. Hell no. I'm gonna say it for two reasons. One, I think the ancient zone thing is gonna factor in. I think he's gonna be able to recover quick, a lot more quickly from this than other people. But once again, that could be just something that the reptile or dinosaur ancient zones have. But we'll see. But the main reason is until we see, I believe it's pronounced Samai Kikai, no, Samai Kikan. I don't think it's over. And that was the body transformation thing that Rob Lucci used. Basically, when he started to lose to Luffy, and I forget if Luffy used Gear Second, and that's why he did this, or Luffy used Gear Second to catch up to him while he was doing this. But that was the form where Lucci made himself a lot smaller, and he did lose some strength, but he drastically increased his speed. Basically, it was his version of Gear 2. And so until we see you know, basically that Rob Lucci drop means that bare minimum this guy can probably do all the things Rob Lucci could do and potentially even more. We don't know what he's learned during his time on the, on the Beast Pirates. So until we see that, I do not see this fight being over. I also want to know more about why I didn't mention this last chapter because I thought maybe I was just stupid and didn't realize, and the sheaf was like, longer than I thought. But I really want to know why he keeps the small knife in his in that long ass scabbard. So until we see the Samai Kikan, I think until we learn more about why he has a knife inside a long scabbard, and I think until we learn some more information from him because he holds a lot of information, I just do not see Who's Who dying here, losing here, especially after CP0 talked about we just need to confirm his death. Worst case scenario, I do think he will eventually be defeated, be kind of left lying there, and then CP0 is going to go and pick him up. Anyway, I'm going to leave this off talking about the sun god Nika. The first thing that came to my head, first thing immediately, was that he looked a lot like a Shandoran. If you don't remember who the Shando not Shandoran, the Shandians, it's either Shandians or Shandorans. You don't remember they were the Native American looking people on Skypiea. He looks a lot like that. He also kind of looks like the pose Luffy did where he jumped up in the sky and his reflection cast down on Earth. So, this could be a separate entity. This could be another version of Joy Boy. Maybe there was another reincarnation of Joy Boy. But I feel like it was kind of like Joy Boy was saying, once I come again, then you guys will be cured. So there was another time. That means he failed twice. I was looking at a bunch of scans. There's a scan of Mother Carmel with in the Big Mom flashback where when she creates Pandora, she tells everyone's like, "Oh, Mother Carmel saved us," and she's like, "No, it was the sun god referencing Pandora." So I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but yeah, man, Oda keeps doing this, bro. We have so many questions that need to be answered, and maybe he'll answer one of them, if that, but then give us like 10 more, man. It's like this hamster wheel. And like, I love it, but it's driving me crazy because of the anticipation, because of the theory crafting and all that. So yeah, man. I'm gonna leave this review here. Once again, I'm really sorry. I do like to take, a long time to like, expound on things and talk more about things and make some theories here and there. But like I said, I am tired. And I don't really do a script. Like when I look over, it's not even a real script. I just have like blanket statements about stuff. I don't know if you can see this, but it's literally like just blanket like statements. And then I just super expound upon it. Like I love rambling. I love talking. I try not to go on tangents, but yeah, that's how I work. And so when I'm tired and my brain's not working and I don't have time to reread the chapter, I can't give the best review and analysis that I can, but like I said, I'm going to figure it out. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you liked it as like kind of sporadic and spastic as it was. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in to Otaku Talk. I'm your host, OD. Have a great day. Take care, guys. Oh, And I think I might do a separate video, maybe expounding on both the Sun God Nika and some of the SBS new information we learned, like how we finally learned another a Saijo Owazumano grade sword. Roger had named Ace, so that's cool. And we also learned Marco's bounty. So yeah, might talk about that in a separate video.